Hey, if you're new here, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cameron. I'm a licensed aesthetics educator and the owner of Lash Beauty Company in Greensboro, North Carolina. We are an aesthetics and eyelash extension retailer. Today I'm going to show you how to pack for state board. State board can be a bit intimidating, but when you are packed and prepared, it's less intimidating. Proper preparation prevents poor performance, so make sure that you are properly prepared for your state board. I'm going to help you pack your universal bag, your client 1 and your client 2 bag. I am based in North Carolina, so this packing guide will be for North Carolina based estheticians. I really want to suggest applying it to your state board if you're not in North Carolina, because I'm not exactly sure if the steps are the same, if the packing is the same. I'm not sure, but if you follow this packing to a T and you know the practical steps, I do intend to do a practical video in another time, but if you know your steps and you know about health and sanitation along with this packing list and having a perfectly packed kit, you will perform well on your state board exam. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to be sure to link my packing list down at the bottom so that you have a copy that you can follow along yourself. In the event that you missed something, you can have this list to refer to. Okay, so I would suggest having a state board kit that has a lot of compartments. I would recommend a suitcase, something that has multiple zippers on the side so that you can store things in, because I'm going to recommend for your state board kit bag that you have a valid ID, so some sort of either your identification from the DMV. I'm pretty sure that's all they'll take. They won't take school IDs, but you need to have something that you can place your ID right here in the front. Then hand sanitizer. I would also recommend that you have your hand sanitizer packed on the outer brim of the bag so that it is easy and accessible for you to get. I know some students I've taught in the past, they were taught to use like totes and things like that, like large empty containers. If that works for you, cool. For me personally, this is going to act as a dry storage. Same with your tote, it's going to act as a dry storage. So I want to minimize as many mistakes as possible, and going in and out of your bag without sanitizing properly is points off of your exam. So when you have that stuff readily available on the outskirts of the bag, it does not count as a point of going in the bag, unlike going into the actual bag as if it was a dispensary. So just keep that in mind if you're going to do a large container instead of a suitcase with multiple compartments like that. So in your state board kit bag, you're going to need a valid ID, hand sanitizer. I recommend putting that on the outskirts of the bag like I just showed you. Client 1 bag that's going to be filled with a few things. Client 2 bag, a mannequin head, a universal bag, which is going to be all of the products that you're going to use throughout the exam, and then brown paper bags that are labeled trash, to be disinfected and soiled. And let me show you what that looks like. You want to have it labeled on both sides. So I've got soiled, to be disinfected, and then also trash. And I would recommend make sure you have liners, okay? Make sure you have trash liners that are already lined and prepared in the bag. So you shouldn't get to state board and then have to open the bag and then set your liner. No, you want to make sure you already have your liners prepped so that all you have to do is open the bag and set it, okay? So trash, to be disinfected and soiled, brown paper bags. Make sure you have a trash can liner surrounding each of your 3 bags, and also make sure it is double on both sides. It says what this bag is intended for. Next is going to be your mannequin head or your dolly, what you intend to use to take your exam. Make sure your dolly is super clean. We're actually running a sale on these right now. They're 40% off on the website. I'll be sure to link that down below. But make sure your dolly is clean. No makeup residue on her or anything. You want to make sure she is absolutely spotless for when you go to take your exam. Let's jump into your universal bag. So So you also want to make sure that your bags are aligned inside of your state board kit. Okay, so for example, when you go in to set up your state board exam, the first thing you're going to do is sanitize your hands and then disinfect your space, because that is going to serve as your salon space. You're then going to go into your state board kit, open it, and begin to set up. So the biggest thing is making sure you have stuff readily available. You should know your kit like the back of your hand. I would recommend having your universal bag first, then your client 1 bag, and then your client 2 bag readily in the kit so that it's easy to grab. We're gonna spend time going through each of these bags so that you're ready prepared for the exam. Okay, so the first bag that we're going to spend time going through is your universal bag. I'm going to pull from my list exactly what you're going to need for this bag for your exam. So barbicide wipes are going to be essential. That's what you're going to use to disinfect your salon space. Gloves, I recommend having 10 pairs and that they're labeled in their own bag. A first aid kit, it's an actual kit but with the blood exposure items only. So go buy a first aid kit from the dollar store, take out everything that you need except for the items for a blood exposure. Then you're going to need paper towels. I recommend about 5 of them to be labeled in its own separate bag. Work area towels, also labeled, 5 of them in their own separate bag. Client protection draped with headband, so that is a towel with a headband in its own separate bag. 2x2s, I recommend at least 5 of them to be labeled. 4x4s, 5 to be labeled. Wooden sticks or spatulas, 10 labeled in its own bag. 2 headbands in its own bag, and then 3 bags that say extra makeup, extra clean tools, and extra disposables, all of them to be labeled. Like I said, I will be sharing this list, so it's okay. I know I kind of ran through that fast. That's only because I want to show you the bag itself. Universal bag is going to serve as the bag for all of your supplies. Should you drop something, should you run out of something in your client 1 or your client 2 bag, you can just refer to your universal bag to grab whatever it is that you need. So let's go ahead and go through your universal bag in order of what you will be needing for the exam. Barbicide wipes, I actually don't have that in here right now, please forgive me, but it is a large cylinder, so you want to keep that somewhat outside of the bag on the outskirts so that you can easily grab that when you go to begin your exam. Alright, so we're going to open it. Have your gloves. I've got 10 pairs of gloves in here that are labeled. A first aid kit with my blood exposure items only. So it's a glove, an alcohol prep pad, and a band-aid. Paper towels in its own bag and labeled. There's about 5 paper towels that I keep in here at all times. Next, your work area towels. So these are going to be the towels that after I disinfect my table, I'm going to pull out this work area towel, lay it down, and then place 2x2s, 4x4s, spatulas, whatever I might need. Your client protection draped with headband. So this is a towel and then a headband, and then it's labeled client protection draped with headband. You want to keep an extra 1 of these in your universal bag. Should you accidentally drop a towel, drop a headband, you can just go grab one from Universal. Next up, we have 2x2s. You want to make sure you label your 2x2s completely. Okay, I've got plenty of 2x2s in here available for me should I run out. Next, I have some 4x4s. These are also labeled, and I know it might seem like it's a lot of labeling and things, but you will thank yourself later when you are taking your exam and you're a bit nervous and you're frolicking. You're like, oh God, I just dropped all my 4x4s. You'll remember that, hey, I packed some extra 4x4s in my universal bag, so let me just go in and retrieve those. Also want to know, your universal bag can stay out with you the entire time that you take your exam. So once you come in, disinfect your table, place your work area towel, you can use your universal bag and keep it at the forefront of the table so that you can always go into it when you need. Have some wooden spatulas, okay, and these are also labeled. I can use this for makeup, retrieving product, applying skincare, whatever I might need. So have some headbands. So 2 headbands labeled in my Universal, just in case I need those. And then extra makeup, extra clean tools, and extra disposables, all of those labels. Let me show you what I put in those. Extra disposables, I put extra eyeshadow brushes. There's some few mascara wands and some lip liners as well in here. Extra makeup, I put some extra tools that I might use for makeup, which is mascara wands, a lip brush, and an eyeshadow applicator. And then extra clean tools. You want to keep another tweezer just in case you drop your tweezer for hair removal. You're nervous, like I said, you're nervous, you're following around. It's a lot taking your stapler. You drop your tweezer, you have an extra in your universal bag. It is a large freezer Ziploc bag so that you can keep all of these things in here. This is what you're going to use on your skateboard. You're going to keep out of your dispensary. Okay, this is the one bag that you can keep out the entire time, not get points deducted. This is where you keep all of your extra implements and tools. Should you drop something nervously or should you run out of something, you'll always have it in this universal bag. Now we're going to move on to the client one bag, which is for facials and hair removal. No, don't quote me, I believe it's just for facials. Now we are moving on to our client one bag. So we are now getting into the exam. What exactly do you need to carry and keep in this client one bag? I'm going to go through exactly step by step what all needs to be here and refer to this list in order. So your client one bag should have 2 steam towels labeled, a small bottle of water that is labeled, a small silicone stainless or stainless steel bowl, a pair of gloves labeled, 2x2s, 4x4s labeled, your skincare, which is going to be cleanser, toner, exfoliation, massage oil, mask, SPF. All of the containers need to be labeled. Brushes, 2 fan brushes and 1 round brush, and 2 wooden spatulas or wooden sticks, and 2 plastic portion cups. Okay, let's go through all of that to make sure you have everything. With the skincare, I've heard different things. If you are going to use your brand or a actual product bottle, just be sure you're wiping off those product bottles, because you're not throwing them in the trash as you would with the non-brand bottles. I personally would recommend just using non-brand bottles so you don't have to worry about that, but should you decide to use full-size product, completely up to you. Let's go ahead and open up our client one bag. First up is your steam towels. Okay, you don't want the towels to be very wet. Damp is the goal. But 2 steam towels in a bag, labeled and ready to go. Small bottle of water, labeled. Next, a small silicone stainless steel bowl. This is by Fantasy. We do carry these at Lash Queen as well. Anything that I'm pulling from the Stapler kit that we do carry at Lash Queen, I'll be sure to drop in the comments below. Okay, your gloves. Okay, pair of gloves completely labeled and ready to go. Your 2x2s and 4x4s labeled in their own separate bags. This should look relatively familiar because it was in your universal bag. Okay, so you have more to work with. That's why you put more in your universal bag. Next up, we've got skincare, and my skincare looks nasty. Make sure yours does not. Oh, that looks gross. I'm gonna use this as a teaching moment. So your skincare. So I have used this bag to teach numerous times, numerous state board exams, and it appears my exfoliant has leaked out. Make sure you do not have this problem at state board, okay? Because this will be points deducted. So I'm gonna make sure that once I finish this video, I go back and clean this bag out, put my exfoliant in more of a secure bag or secure container, because it looks like that's what it leaked out of. But you want to make sure you have your stuff already labeled, and I tell my students it's not cheating to put numbers on the steps. I know sometimes you might get confused with the steps of a facial. Maybe you know it, maybe you don't, but if you don't feel confident by the time you take your state board, it's okay to put a little cleanser and the number 1, a toner and the number 2, your exfoliant number 3. Y'all, I'm so sorry, I can't believe this bag is like I can't believe the bag did that, but I'm keep going. Your exfoliant, make sure this is clean. Your massage oil, number 4 and labeled. Your mask, number 5 labeled, and your SPF number 6 and labeled. Just make sure all of your skincare is labeled in its own bag and completely clean, wiped down, nothing spilling or anything like that, because had I went into State Board like this, I would have had points deducted. So I'm gonna make sure after I finish filming this video, I repackage that, because that is points deducted. Next, you're going to need your brushes. Make sure those are nice and labeled and clean, free from debris. So I've got 2 brushes for application of cleansers and things, and then I also have a round brush for exfoliation. So make sure you have 2 fan brushes and 1 round. More wooden sticks or wooden spatulas in its own bag. Remember, if you run out, you have more universal. And the last thing you're going to need is plastic portion cups. These are used if you are going to be dispensing products. Because I have the way the skincare is packaged, I have everything in pumps, so I don't have to worry about if I need to dispense a product, because you don't want to do it improperly and get points deducted. So pack you a couple of plastic portion cups that you can use to dispense product into containers if you don't have a pump. Okay, pumps are the only way that you can kind of avoid the unnecessary dispensing of products and things like that. So make sure you're doing it properly and have some plastic cups. Okay, so that's all of everything in your client 1 bag. Let's move on to client 2. Now we are moving on to the client 2 bag, and so with this bag you're going to be doing makeup and hair removal. You're also going to be doing blood exposure in this bag as well, but remember your blood exposure supplies are going to be located in your universal bag. Okay, but in your client 2 bag you're going to need 1 pair of gloves labeled, a painter's palette to dispense makeup product, makeup supplies. The supplies you're going to need are foundation, powder, blush, eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, disposable mascara wands, lipstick, makeup sponges, wooden sticks, Q-tips, and cotton rounds. Okay, remember, I'm going to give you this list, so don't worry, you can refer to this list. After that, you're going to need your wax supplies, so a pair of gloves, some astringent or toner, muslin, wooden sticks, pre-epilation powder, wax, post-epilation products, and 2x2s. Okay, and then lastly, your tweezing supplies labeled, 2x2s, disposable mascara wands, and tweezers. Alright, so let's jump into your client 2 bag and exactly how you should set that up as well. Here is your client 2 bag packed and ready to go. So let's go through exactly how you should have everything packed and ready, okay? Up, you've got your gloves, labeled gloves, in a its own labeled bag. Painter's palette, and let me show you what a painter's palette looks like. Okay, so this is what you're going to use to dispense products. Make sure you have one of these. You can get these at the dollar store, or maybe your school provided them in your kit, but you want to have some sort of palette. Next are going to be your makeup supplies. So we've got foundation, and I like to use Dollar Tree makeup. Okay, I'm not using makeup that I would use on clients. I'm not bringing that to my exam to play around in. Okay, that makeup is too expensive. Go get you some Dollar Tree makeup that you can play around in. So foundation, and it's labeled. Okay, so if I forget the step, there's foundation 1. I've got powder, got our blush label, eyeshadow palette label. And if you notice, these are palettes, so they're things that you're going to have to dispense into the painter's palette so that you don't get points taken off. Eyeliner labeled. Make sure the eyeliner that you use is sharpenable, okay? So no felt tips or anything like that. Make sure you can sharpen the eyeliner you're using. Mascara labeled, and lip color labeled. Okay, so those are all of the makeup supplies that you're going to be using to do the makeup portion, and I have that in its own bag labeled makeup supplies. Okay, let's get into the disposables. So we've got some makeup sponges, perfect for blending. I would not recommend any brushes or anything like that. You want to have stuff that is easy and disposable. Okay, things that you can dispose of. Cotton rounds, one-time use. I can dispose of them. It shows that you're clean. You understand infection control. With the brushes, you're not indicating that you're washing the brushes or that they were washed, so you don't want to, you know, have those brushes out for the exam. Q-tips. I've got some Q-tips and eyeshadow applicators in a baggie. disposable mascara wands for when I'm ready to apply my mascara within infection control parameters. You know, you should not be using the actual, you should not be using this to apply your mascara onto your model. You should be using a disposable, right? So you want to make sure you have plenty of those. Keep in mind, once you dip and apply, you can't dip this back in because that would be cross-contamination. So make sure you have more than one mascara wand. And lastly, some wooden sticks. So that is everything from the makeup portion that you're going to need to successfully do a full face of makeup. Remember, you have headbands and work area towels and things like that in your universal bag, so just refer to that if you need to grab those items from there. Okay, let's now move on to the wax supplies. So I have wax supplies labeled in its own bag ready to go. So you want to have a pair of gloves. If I can get them out, sorry. Ooh, look, see, that's what I'm saying. Make sure, I'm using this as learning lessons, make sure you pack your state board kit the night before and check and make sure that everything is still good, because sometimes things leak out and you just want to make sure everything's nice and clean. So I will be making sure I go back through my kit after this video. Gloves packed and ready. I've got my which is your astringent, so I've got that ready in a bottle. Next, you want to have your muslin, okay, in its own bag, ready to go and labeled. With the muslin, I've had students who forget to pack muslin. If you forget to pack your muslin, use something else. Fold a 2x2 in shape of the muslin and do the steps the same, okay? They're not really looking for the material itself. They're looking at if you know what you're doing, if you know the actual steps, and if you know infection control. Okay, you're also going to need some wooden spatulas. Okay, make sure you have a few wooden spatulas for application ready to go. Pre-appellation powder. So I've got some pre-appellation powder ready to go. I've got my wax in a separate container ready to go, labeled wax. And then lastly, you'll need your post-appellation labeled and ready to go, as well as 2x2s. Okay, so make sure you have all of that packed into a bag that says wax supplies. Okay, the better prepared you are for your exam, like I said earlier, the better prepared you are, the better that you will feel to take your exam. Last couple of things that you're going to need in order to finish out hair removal is going to be your tweezing supplies, okay? Because they're going to come around to you individually and they're going to say, please demonstrate the removal of tweezing of 3 hairs, blah blah blah. So when you're prompted to do that, you want to make sure you sanitize, of course, but you're going to need a few things. Your mascara wands, okay, have those ready and available in a bag. Some 2x2s, which are also, and I kept all of this in the same bag. So 2x2s, because you need to make sure you are tweezing the hairs and placing them into 2x2s, okay? And then lastly, a tweezer. Now if you remember, you have a tweezer from your universal bag that you can always go back and dip into if you need it, but you want to have an extra just in case. Like I said, anything happens, anything can happen. You can drop something during your exam, you can forget things. That's why you kind of over prepare to under prepare, if that makes sense. The last minute things that I want to recommend for your state board exam is make sure you have products that kind of mimic what we're doing. So for the wax, a honey like substance, that's what I see most people use, is like honey or some type of corn syrup. Those items are really good to mimic wax. It kind of has that same stickiness and application. So those 2 items. And then for your powder, you can use baking powder, cornstarch, you know, just use products that mimic what you're actually doing for those things. You don't necessarily have to use real post-appellation product if you don't want to waste it. You can use just like a regular oil-based product. Same with your cleansers and things like that. I would just say for the makeup, you want to go and purchase some makeup from like a dollar store, something that you're not gonna, you know, use on clients, because this makeup is for a mannequin. So I really wouldn't recommend using expensive makeup on something like this. But all in all, that is the end of this video. I hope it was helpful to you if you are an aspiring esthetician student, or if you've already completed your aesthetics program and you are about to graduate. I hope this video was of some help to you. Like I said, I have been an educator now going on 3 years. Absolutely love teaching state board. I love teaching continuing education, but beauty school has always and will always have my heart, because that really is the foundation of aesthetics. So feel free to email me if you have any questions about anything that I covered today, and you can refer to the links below for any products that you can grab at Lash Queen to stock your state board kit. Also, my packing list will be in the bottom as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.